It's the Craggy Rugby Podcast. It's New Year's Day 2024. Connacht are taking on Munster. It's about 12 minutes before kick-off. It's absolutely hammering down with rain. It's quite cold, but there's so many people in the Clan stand. Actually feel quite warm. Danny, Connacht have to win today.
100%. This is an absolute must-win game for Connacht. Especially Munster have another two injuries added to their injury woes an hour before kick-off. So, again, they're coming here as a wounded beast, and Connacht really need to put them to the sword. I know you were saying that you've put a couple of bob on Connacht at +8. I'm not sure. -8. I'm not sure it'll be that big of a win.
I suppose in the day that's in it, it's pretty windy. It is very, very wet. We're just looking at Tom Hearn on the wing, the 6'9" winger. Like, I've never seen a winger that tall before. But as they warm up and they drop the ball, but there you go. I'm sure we're going to see quite a lot of that today. So yeah, let's see how we get on, and we'll talk again on 20 minutes. Okay, Danny, just coming up to 20 minutes. Connacht have a scrum in their own 22, but they lead 3-0. We've had a couple of substitutions in force. Kyle Ford's gone off. It looks like a bad shoulder injury. Oleg Jaeger got taken off on a stretcher after a huge hit. But it's as tense and tight as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, very tense. Quite a cagey thing. The weather is definitely playing its part on that. But like, only 3-0 after 20 minutes is kind of a testament for the kind of game it is. Bit of a classic for Connacht Munster fixtures, especially up here. I do remember a 6-3 win for Munster. Hopefully we can get a few more points on the board.
Exactly. Not much else to talk about, so we'll talk again at half-time. Half-time, Munster lead by 6 points to 3. Took them nearly an hour to play that half of rugby, with another couple of serious injuries. And Connacht have a yellow card. Byron Ronstadt just at half-time getting a yellow card for an illegal clear-out. It's a tough game.
Yeah, he's very lucky that he did actually manage to make a little bit of contact with Jack O'Donoghue's shoulder before he hit his knee, because that could easily have been red.
Yeah.
But it's a huge defensive half from Connacht.
Yeah,
like,
massive.
just to be honest, to be
and
six.
We're playing against the wind.
Yes, and it might not look like it on the screen, but there's a fierce wind. Like, Munster have gotten into Connacht's 22 7 times and only come away with 6 points. Like, it's a massive bit to be keeping them out like that. Like, we are bringing pressure onto ourselves. A couple of poor clearances, but
too many penalties.
Yes, yeah, it's eight penalties to 4, which we really need to turn around. But if we can get on the right side of the ref, the game is there for Connacht, because they're pushing Munster back in every defensive set.
They certainly are, and the crowd are well into this game. I don't remember a 3 o'clock kickoff being this vibrant, I have to say. So let's see how we get on. We'll talk again on 60 minutes. Okay, 60 minutes. Munster lead 9-6 now, but Connacht have a very kickable penalty, Danny. It's been very tight. Connacht are just giving away just a few too many penalties still. They're still on the wrong side of the ref.
Yeah, they're still on the wrong side of the ref. What I'd find frustrating is some of the penalties were given against Connacht, and Munster doing the same thing. That's where Connacht fans get frustrated, but Connacht aren't playing in the right areas. It's the big problem.
Yeah, they aren't. They are dominating a lot of possession. The lineout's going incredibly well. 9-0. We'll talk again at full time.
It's Connacht 9, Munster 9.
Final score, Connacht 22, Munster 9. Yes, another try off the bench from Jack Ainger. He's scored all his tries for Connacht off the bench. But an amazing kick from Jack Carty into the corner, but it's 50-22. Even Bundyaki stopped and applauded it. That's what really won the game at the end and made it safe for Connacht.
Well, it wasn't a 50-22. It was actually a Munster line-out, and it was overthrown. It was relentless. It's something that they keep saying. It was a relentless work rate from Connacht. Yep. Really learned, like, from that bad spell of games. It's like, to me, that's the polar opposite of Bordeaux.
Yes,
just absolute work rate. There was a few times they were nearly caught at pillar, and you saw guys working really hard, Joe Joyce did it at one point. He went into a ruck, realised he couldn't do anything, and bounced straight back out. If he didn't, Munster had men. Like, it was just the awareness of where they were on the pitch was superb from Connacht. They were excellent.
Anyway, what impressed you most about Connacht tonight?
For me, it would be the line out and the restarts. Connacht made sure of every single restart on a really wet, difficult night, and made Munster make many mistakes. Like Munster, in the start of the second half, they let the ball bounce. It was such a contrast of what people have been saying about Connacht this season. It's impressive to see. Like, so when they get it right, they can really, make teams pay. Someone that I was giving criticism to a few weeks back was Heffernan. His line-out tone was absolutely on point. And another person that both of us given stick to was Bundy. Wow, is he up for this game tonight? It's just full of chat.
That is the Bundy we've been looking for. That's the Bundy we've been waiting for. That's Ireland level Bundy that we saw there. Okay, let's take a break and hear the post-match press conference.
Pete, nothing like ending a losing streak in provincial, so it's really turned a bit of a corner again, I'd say, is the way you're going to look at it.
Yeah, I think it was important for us to break that run of losses, obviously the context of our season, but also just in terms of the momentum going into the second half of the URC. I think that was crucial. I think, though, just in the context of a home Interpro, New Year's Day, sold out crowd, I think that was enormously important that we demonstrated the sort of fight and also the rugby smarts that rewards the people that were standing out there in some pretty atrocious conditions. So, look, I think at every level it was important that we got the result, and a convincing result as well. It wasn't just hanging on for dear life at the end. And I thought it was thoroughly deserved.
Yeah, it was a real battle. I don't think it's going to live long in the memory. I don't know if you see it from that perspective, but it's obviously not really going to be one of those triumphant victories over Munster. It was more kind of workmanlike, wasn't it?
I think it was workmanlike in terms of the style of rugby that was played. I think for us, there was some really impressive and long sets of defence, which we knew would be important against the type of attack that Munster play. I think areas of our game, stood up. The line-out defence, I thought, was a really important part in terms of us disrupting their rhythm. We started to get an ascendancy at the scrum, and I think second half we saw some of the smarts around our game management and the quality of the kicking game and the kick chase. So, I think you've got to really enjoy rugby to appreciate those bits of it. It certainly wasn't the razzle-dazzle. But nor was it just a sort of scruffy arm wrestle either. So, a lot of those aspects are referred to there are bits that we've been working on over the last 2 to 3 weeks that perhaps haven't been where they need to be for us to be really competitive this year. So I thought, in a home Interpro and fiercely contested, it was really pleasing that those bits stood up so well.
JJ Hanrahan has played Munster twice now and he's won both games. How important was his kind of street smarts and knowledge of Munster, do you think, tonight in the performance that he's put in out there?
Look, I think probably most important was the fact he's just a really good player, and there wasn't necessarily the sort of multi-phase game management that I think is a particular strength of his. As I said, he had to shift to full-back there after Carl Ford went off, but we still got the advantage of him sort of chiming in at second receiver, first receiver. Sometimes we've got his kicking game. Obviously, his goal kicking was important for us. So I think in terms of the quality of the performance, that was massive. I think when you've got someone who's from a club and obviously knows a club as well as he does, it probably brings a sense of calm as well. A lot of our guys would have a good understanding of how Munster play and the strengths and weaknesses of the individual players there. But I think when you've got someone who's really been embedded in a club and is from there, I think they do bring a sense of calm in terms of being able to give guys extra detail on some of the blokes that you're playing against. But also just reference the fact that everyone's human and these players have their weaknesses as much as anyone else, and from that comes opportunities.
Another big performance from Cian Prendergast, and we'll talk to him in a few minutes, but I just want to ask you about Joe Joyce. You brought in a player there for exactly these kind of nights, isn't it? He really did stand up to the battle against Munster.
Yeah, he did. I thought Joe was really impressive, and certainly he gives us that physical ballast. And we have a lot of quality around our tight five forwards, a lot of dynamism, and Joe brings a slightly different profile to that. And as you said, in terms of his background and playing in the Premiership in particular, he's used to those attritional nights where set piece is important. I thought he called the line out really well, really intelligently this evening. And that what could have been a really tricky night for jumpers, lifters and particularly throwers. I thought he did a great job at managing the pressure that they were under at certain times and giving us some ball to either maul off or attack off. And then, around the park, as I said, he brings that physical presence as well. So, to have Oisin Downing then to come off the bench and replace him, it was a little bit later than planned, mainly because we had those couple of injuries late on and a couple of concerns with a couple of guys. We needed to keep someone fresh. But, Oisin to come on and bring the freshness and pick up the intensity that Joe left, I thought was really really impressive.
No team outside maybe 2 or 3 have enough depth to be losing 3 backs in a game. So you've got Hansen, Ford and Blade gone off there. What can you tell us?
Fordy went off with a shoulder injury. It looked like an AC joint. Not sure at this stage of the severity of it. Hopefully not too bad, but it's certainly bad enough that it was an immediate removal. Straight away, your 6'2" bench starts to look a little bit skinny in terms of that, but we trained for that. We trained for losing one of those backs, and JJ going to full-back and Jack going into 10. So, I think that was important in terms of the lads having some cohesion there, but also mentally being able to ride out what could have been a major disruption. Caelan Blade failed an HIA, which he went off for with 15 minutes to go. And then Mac injured his shoulder, receiving a clean out at that breakdown. So, again, Mac's, the severity of that, we'll have to wait and see. He's pretty sore downstairs, to be honest. But we'll get the scans and see where he's at with that. So, again, to finish the game with 14 men and to see it out in that fashion, adds to, I suppose, the satisfaction.
I don't want to make it whataboutism, but Mac's clear out, you may have an opinion on that. Graham Rowntree isn't at all happy with the clear out on Jack O'Donoghue, Byron Watson. Do you have any perspective on that from your point?
Yeah, I was coming down for half time and actually standing around the technical area on the Byron one. So look, I think something where players are making contact with the lower limbs of players that are contesting the ball. I know that's something that the powers that be have said they want to be particularly hard on this year. So, look, I've not had the replays of it, but certainly the referees had a good look at it. And for it to be a yellow, I don't know whether there's any follow-up on that or whether that's the decision made. I think the Mac one, the discussion is the player that hit him and damaged his shoulder, is he coming in legally or is he coming in from the side? So, these are split-second moments and the referees have to make a decision, and, the TMOs try and help them with that. But, I think if you're on the receiving end of either, you're probably a little unhappy as a coach. Just
as someone who's been here for decades covering Connacht, a period of 4 wins out of 6 over Munster is sensational if you're looking at it in terms of history. Yet we've come out of a night here where no one's bouncing up and down because it was ground out. What does that mean to you, that statistic, 4 wins out of 6, and the reality that this isn't necessarily going to turn the heads of everyone around Europe either, this particular performance tonight?
I think it probably shows the growth of the club. I think that if you get those kind of statistics in terms of win record against a really high profile and good team, I think that's probably a reflection of that. I think for us, to say no one's sort of jumping up and down for the points, I think it's probably partly a bit of fatigue in terms of the effort that's gone in tonight, but also the emotional energy spent building up to a game like this, and particularly on the back of a run of losses, and so the energy and intensity around what we were doing never dropped from players or coaches. But I think when you do get that win and you do put on what I thought was a really good performance for the conditions, it's a genuine satisfaction, and maybe a quiet satisfaction rather than sort of wanting to go out and party, I suppose. For us, we deserve the criticism. I think any time that you're not winning games, it's professional sport. That's how it goes. But I think there's a feeling of we got what we deserved this evening, and that was through a heck of a lot of hard work and a lot of bravery at times. Not just in terms of the physical bravery that these games need, but also in terms of how we played the game and how we managed the game. And I think, so with that, you look each other in the eye, and we can walk away and build again.
Are you confident, just to finish for me, that Connacht are a playoff team at the end of this season? Do you think tonight kind of shows it?
Well, I think that's always our goal, and I think when you beat the reigning champions and you beat what's a really good club and a club that's at the top end of the competition, it reinforces your credentials for being a top 8 team. Every year we aim for that. We want to be in knockout stages. We want to be in the Champions Cup, and most years we get there, some years we don't. But this year it's particularly important that we're up there, I think. And it's not been an easy run of 11 fixtures for us, but we're there or thereabouts, and we're on track for the second half of the season. I think that's really important to give us that momentum going into it.
Cian, congrats, massive victory for the group. Obviously you feel like that was coming after last week, maybe a 1-point loss. You got the job done today.
Yeah, look, we obviously been on the bad side of a couple of games. So, but to be honest, we weren't in as bad a place as the results dictated. Like obviously the Bordeaux game was a bit of an anomaly. Like it was just a poor performance. Saracens game, there was a lot of controllables we let go, and I think either side of those, the two interpros, we just need to be a little bit more precise. So I think we're in a better place than probably the results dictated. So we just wanted to go out there and show that tonight.
It's funny because when Connacht were 15-9 up, I saw you getting across the field to take down Simon Zebo. Like there was a moment there where it could have got awkward again, like it did against Leinster. Do you think that's a kind of a critical juncture for you guys and learning that how you finished this game, maybe compared to the previous URC home game against Leinster?
Yeah, I think it's funny how it works like that. Like ultimately, we would have loved to win that Leinster game, but the learnings that came out of it is huge for us as a group because relatively still a young team, new enough coaching ticket. So it's the learnings we took from it were huge, and I thought our game management towards the end of that was pretty good. Our halfbacks put us in the right place. Michael McDonald came on, made a serious impact. Jack, JJ kicked well, and just allowed us to get that score at the end.
At half time, did you feel the elements were a huge advantage to you turning into it?
I don't even know. I don't think the elements were. I think it was us beating ourselves up. Small errors from us, penalties conceded, we're allowing them into the game, and then we just needed to be smarter with the ball. I think we were in the second half. Again, Jacko, JJ, Blady, Michael, they put us in the right places, and as a forward pack, you love that, and we'll just keep working for them.
Do you think the Connacht scrum is underrated a little bit, how good it is?
Hugely. I think the growth in our scrum between 2 years ago to now is phenomenal. I think the job Cully's done with us, but also like it's a very player-led environment. So Finlay, Dennis, Duels, Aj, and the hookers Hef, Dylan, even Tyg McElroy that's come in this year. They're huge. Their knowledge around the scrum is phenomenal, and it just allows us in the back five to just really support them. And we go in confident in each game. Even when we were in South Africa, we're confident in our ability to turn teams over there.
I thought tonight the balance of the back row from our perspective in the commentary was superb. What's it like to play with the lads, with Seamus and with Jared, perform well tonight?
Yeah, look, the two lads were awesome tonight. Conor Oliver, when he came on, was savage as well. So I think we've a phenomenal back row group in Connacht. Like Paul Boyle has been unlucky with injury. I thought he's been really good for us anytime he has played. See, Sean O'Brien was super in that 20 minutes he played against Ulster. And then you've got lads like Sean Jansen and Oisin McCormack's coming back from injury. He's a super player as well. So like there's a lot of good players there. So I wouldn't say like there's necessarily a stronger balance to the group. I think it's ultimately we got to figure out a way to play with each other, whether it be myself, Conor Oliver, Seamus, Jared, Conor Oliver, Seamus, Sean Jansen comes in there, Sean O'Brien comes in there. Like it's about us figuring out a way throughout the week which allows us to be as effective as we were tonight.
I don't remember that much competition actually in the back row in covering Connacht, so it must be an incredible battle to get your position. Just on tonight as well, we're trying to work out how this victory feels, because beating Munster is always a hugely significant moment for Connacht, but I wonder if you guys are kind of at a level where it's something you nearly expected or of yourselves to get this result. Like,
yeah, look, I think we're in a position where we expect to win every game. Like I think almost the position when we're probably a little bit more relieved, so that's probably why you saw that outburst of emotion, because like we're well aware it's been tough. We've been on the shit side of a couple of results, so I think it was more relief than anything, and then hopefully it's something that we can springboard forward now and start building some momentum.
And you can't rest on your laurels because you're still outside the playoffs. There's a lot of ground to make up, and there's a lot of teams performing well around. There's a real battle to get into the top 8, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it's a long season. We're well aware that some results that we would have liked to go our way didn't go our way, but I think we're in a stronger position than we were last year. So we just got to build on that into the new year, and hopefully we'll start picking up some results.
Just wondering ahead of Leon, there was a feeling in those two Champions Cup games with the amount of scores conceded that maybe Connacht are a little bit out of their depth compared to the teams they're going to get through to knockout stages. You still have a great chance. How do you feel going over to Leon in terms of what's possible for Connacht if you can get the results you probably need to get out?
We haven't thought about Leon really. We have 2 weeks leading now, so we have a couple of days off and then we'll be back in Thursday. But ultimately we'll just take it day by day, game by game, and we'll see where we are. Post the Leon game, we'll go from there. Because European rugby is the most exciting tournament, so we probably haven't done ourselves justice. So it's an exciting opportunity to go to France and pick up a result and keep building.
What do you think Connacht were able to do in the closing stages from your perspective that gave them the edge?
They stopped us getting into their 22. The breakdown was fierce. Good scrum from them towards the end there. JJ with a win behind him. I thought he kicked very well. And obviously our line-out fell apart there in the last minute of the game. And they scored and just took everything away from us.
The line-out before half-time as well, that second quarter, when you have the elements and maybe a bit of momentum, certainly the 10 minutes before half-time, there was a chance to maybe get a score. Is that where you lost it, do you think?
I'm not going to pinpoint the loss on any one particular individual or one moment of the game. We have got guys functioning in positions without a lot of game time, which matters. But I'm not going to look to that for excuses.
Shane, just maybe a player's perspective on a really tough night and a tough loss.
Yeah, look, very frustrating. We've come out the wrong side of a lot of these games in the last few weeks, so it's tough to keep taking loss after loss like that, because we haven't done much wrong. You know, for 70 odd minutes of that game, we were in control and in a good position to come away with at least something from the game. Just a bit of control around our set piece and discipline, access again. It's the same things we're talking about every week. I think that's what's frustrating. But look, we had everything we needed to win the game, but we're just not getting over the line at the minute. So it's something we need to look at.
Okay, now we're the post-match interviews where you heard Pete Wilkins, Cian Prendergast, Graham Rowntree and Shane Daly. I will. I'll leave all that in because my head's gone, because I'm still so excited about the fact that we won that game so well, and it was a really good win. Dave, that was as good a win against Munster as I've seen. A lot of people around me were worried, and I'm going, I never felt that worried about that game.
I will be with the people who are around you. I always felt worried because this is Connacht. I mean, we should have beaten Leinster and we didn't. We should have beaten Ulster and didn't. We should have beaten Munster and did. There are a few turning points in that game, but I think it's significant that we now have somebody, if he's on the pitch, can nail penalties from the halfway line, and you feel confident that he can.
He was a 90% kicker before tonight, and that hasn't gone any less.
It's not going any less. I mean, 17 points for JJ. And you just felt, you could just see it puncturing. Graham Rowntree, you'll hear it, you've heard it. Graham Rowntree saying something happened in 70 minutes. I'll tell you what happened in 70 minutes, Graham. You took off Tony Butler. That's what happened. And they fell apart. They put Scanlon into 12. I don't know who went into 12.
Yeah, Sean, crazy decision.
Crazy decision. I mean, and then just compound it by bringing on Patterson. Now, Patterson's a good scrum half, but he hasn't played. And they just fell apart in that last. They were close. Even the very last play they did, which was to kick the ball from their own goal. I said, lads, if you run it, you're Munster. If there's one team to score a try 4 minutes into injury time, it's you guys. You would have got a losing bonus point. And they kicked it back down to JJ and he kicks it out.
Yeah, but that was because if you looked at it during the game, they never looked like breaking the gain line. I'm not sure they did. I think Zemo might possibly have broken the gain line when Mac got injured that time. Because that's the other major story of the game is the injuries to both sides, and we'll talk about that in a second. But for me, it was the comfort that I felt because we were winning a lot of contacts.
It's in retrospect, I didn't think it at the time, but looking back on it, they never came close to scoring a try apart from when they really should have.
If he just dropped on the ball instead of picking it up and diving it, I don't know why he didn't just drop on it.
Initially people say it's the same as what Shane Bolton did.
This is Gavin Coombs picking the ball up and then got his knee over the dead ball line.
People will say it's exactly what Shane Bolton happened to Shane Bolton in Belfast, but the difference was Shane Bolton picked the ball up and just momentum took him over. Coombs just needed to fall on the ball. It's mind-blowing he does that. But that summed them up. Looking at it from this side now, that sums them up. They did stupid stuff. We did stupid stuff, and for once we got away. We didn't
do as much.
No, I think we were refereed slightly differently to them. I think we give away our penalties. No problem with our penalties. I will come on to the injuries. I think we have to admit that. And then, I thought he didn't referee them the same way. I thought they got away with stuff they didn't. But they got a yellow card. Now we'll talk about the rights and wrongs of that in a second. But in that 10 minutes, we scored 3 points and they were zeroed.
Yeah.
You can't win a game if you can't score when the other team's
No, and that's because, William, I'll bring you in on this, and that's because Connacht were winning a lot of the contacts. Also, the kick-offs, for the most part, were way better than they've been in a long time. And most importantly, the line-out worked practically all night in horrendous conditions.
Yeah, there was a lot better. It was an adequate performance, I think. I mean, Munster were so shorn of players. They had 2 world-class players. Conor Murray had a very good game, and Tadhg Byrne was the man of the match. Really,
it's incredible.
No offence to Cian, but it should probably go to the winning team. But But you always felt Connacht were in control there through the game, and even when it was tight, Munster never got within 10 metres really in attacking sense.
Well, I think Danny has a stat. They got to our 22 7 or 8 times and scored 2 penalties.
Yeah, so Connacht's defence was on top, and you felt at the end there was always the chance that they would add a bit of icing on the cake, and they deserved that. And it was a clever kick. It put pressure on their line out. It failed. Good work by Dylan Tierney-Martin. Dennis Buckley lifted him like a sack of spuds and hoovered him over the line, and then somehow or other Jack Ainger came up with the ball. It just had that feel that was the performance that was needed. I still don't think they're in a great place. I think 5 and 4 is a bare minimum.
Yeah, but everybody's beating everybody at this stage. Teams are beating each other all around the league. Ulster are currently beating Leinster.
Yeah, that'll change. No, I'm going to go back to what I'm saying. This time last year, we were 4 and 7. There was less games left, but there are interprovincials left. There's 2 right at the end of the season. Connacht have got to win, I believe now, 7 games out of 9. That's a big ask when you look at who they're playing. There's 2 maybe targetable games, which seems to be a new word back in the lexicon here, in Wales. Benetton isn't targetable, and I wouldn't like to be trying to win Interpros. They've left serious points behind at this time of the season. They were in winning opportunities or drawing opportunities in games.
And they were in the same tonight, and they did it. Tonight was the difference in that they, as Cian said, they seem to have learned.
No, Munster just aren't good enough.
You're talking about the URC champions.
They're just in a bad run. They've got 2 more serious injuries. I don't know where they're going to keep finding players from. It's pretty obvious listening to Graham Rowntree that his head's spinning now. Yeah. Has he enough players to even run proper training sessions? And what does he do with Europe? My guess with Europe is they'll never admit it, but they'll have to put a line through Europe because they can't compete. And there's also the rumour around now about the Peter O'Mahony situation, that he is in a problem with his contract rather than other stuff. I'm not saying that is correct, but he was quite defensive when he was asked about it in the press conference here, and that's part of the game as well. Players in that scenario, but there they are.
There they are.
My heart bleeds for them. They were in a worse situation when they went to Wasps, and they won in Wasps with a bunch of kids, one of whom was Tony Butler, who didn't start the game until tonight. I have no sympathy for them. They spunked money away on players. They're having their correspondents on TV complain that it's not fair that they're having to get rid of players. And you're thinking, yeah, that's like somebody complaining that the guy next door has bought your Ferrari when they already own a Bugatti Veyron, and we're driving we're driving a Mini Cooper. So I've no sympathy for him. He has enough players. Of course, he has enough players. They were beaten tonight because there were terrible decisions made by the coaching team. There was terrible decisions made by the players on the pitch, and the better team won. And I disagree with William, we may need to win 7 games. What's stopping us?
There is that. But let's go back to something that you were mentioning earlier, because we do have to talk about it. We've lost Carl Ford to, looks like a shoulder injury. And more importantly, Mac Hansen. And I'm not exactly sure what that injury was, but it wasn't pleasant because he was taking oxygen coming off the field, William.
Yeah, he was in agony. He was in absolute agony. My guess would be he's either broken or dislocated his shoulder, or he's dislocated his elbow. It's not often you see a player in that physical amount of pain. They got him to walk off. It might have been fairer, actually, to get him to lie down and cart him off, but he was just in pieces. It was a very hard game. It was very physical. It crossed the line a couple of times from both sides. That's what interprovincial rugby is. That's about players wanting to win, but that could be serious for Connacht and or Ireland going forward. But they just have to see. I'm sure he'll be put in a scanner tomorrow and they'll know more.
They will indeed. And of course, the Munster had 3 injuries, and one of them looked like more than a yellow card to me. And that Byron Ralston, I know he probably didn't intentionally mean to hit Jack O'Donoghue like that, but he did.
Yeah, I mean, I have no issues if that's a red card. I can understand what happened. I do have a slight advantage of you guys. I got the full feed, and Andrew Bryce said he tried to wrap up and he's missed the clean out. Now I think he did I don't think he did mean to clean it. I'm not saying he was targeting the knee. I think he wanted to hit the thigh and got it horribly wrong. If there's a siding out of that, again, I don't think we have much to complain about. I do think, though, if that's the case, there should be a siding on what happened to Matt, because that looked like his elbow was targeted. It looks exactly the same. And I know they're going about. I know Peter was going on about in from the side. Well, in Ralston's case, he's absolutely banged to rights there. They absolutely acknowledge that in their process to give him the yellow card. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if more comes of that. I would actually think that the problem that annoys me with, and this is back to a little bit of inconsistency by Busby, is that's exactly the same thing, but it wasn't mentioned at all by the TMO or the officials. They just let it happen, and that's despite there were a few things. Ollie Yeager's just damn unlucky. It's just damn unlucky.
You don't run into Finlay Bealham and Joe Joyce head first and expect to go through them.
Well, no, and it's not like I hate to say. I'm back to one of my bugbears is that oftentimes. We saw it actually when Carl Ford was yellow carded against Leinster. He didn't instigate the contact, and he was hit. And yet, because he's the tackler, he was yellow carded. I was surprised. I mean, with Busby, I'm actually surprised he didn't look it, but they did genuinely say rugby instant, and it was. He just basically, as I say, it's like a narrow passage. It got narrower. Where they both hit him on the shoulder with their shoulders. He just happened to bang his head up both their shoulders. No, I understand.
I don't even think he banged his head. I think it's just one of those things. He was going quite fast, and they stopped him dead.
Well, yeah. There's also, I mean, I'd like to go on to physics, but at some point, if you stop somebody going at that speed, the momentum has to go somewhere.
Exactly. All right. It's Christmas time. It's New Year, actually. We've got a New Year's Day. Good start to the New Year. We have a whole hell of a lot else to talk about.
I've got one thing for you.
Oh, William got something?
Yeah. Sam Warburton yesterday in the Sunday Times put out this quite bizarre article. Now, I don't know, maybe he just wrote it and pressed send. I want to quote something off it. It says, there's no buy-in to the URC he's talking about. I'm a former Cardiff player, now a fan and board member, and I'm afraid the Cardiff URC results do not mean enough to me. Europe, yes, but not the URC. I think that is a scandalous statement by somebody who works a lot in the media. He's on the board. He should be immediately asked to leave the board. The rest of the bullshit is Italy can go and join France with about 2 and 6 to spend, so maybe in Pro D3. The South Africans can go back and play with themselves in South Africa. Funnily enough, they've already tried that and it really doesn't work. And Ireland and Scotland have to understand that England and Wales have issues and need help, and there needs to be some clear thinking. I don't think I have read worse crap in my life, and I hope it's just laughed out. And if the Welsh Rugby Union need to get a hold of these clubs and say, listen, you need to buck up. We know there's problems. You're short of money. Get on with it. There is a fan base issue. Well, there was no fan base issue here today. There was 7,000-8,000 people in. That's actually some of the worst, continuously bad conditions I've ever seen. It started appalling and it got worse through the afternoon. It did not let up for 1 second.
No, it didn't.
But that, I'm gobsmacked by that sort of thinking. And if that's the sort of thinking that is around clubs in Wales, and of course they want to get to play the English clubs because they see that as the panacea. I don't think the English clubs are that bothered. Baffling, absolutely baffling.
I mean, I haven't read Sam Morton's piece because I just looked at the headline and went, are you kidding me? I'd like to know, why is it the RFU's decision to make more Welsh players? The first half of by the way, Sam, Cardiff were beating Dragons 45-7. I'm not quite sure the RFU want to bolster the Dragons. Was Sam complaining then? No. He's just annoyed. The fact is that the RFU, beating the English teams...
WRU now. WRU.
Sorry, the WRU... Sorry, the RFU, it is not their job to make more Welsh players. It is not their job to do WRU's job in improving the coaching at schools level, at youth level. What is in it for them? When you are getting hockeyed by 60 points by Newcastle or Exeter or Leicester, when they are laughing at, when none of the Leicester fans are showing it, when they're playing B teams, I mean, what's going to be your solution then? I'm sorry, but I would like to tell you, Sam, London Irish, Wasps, Worcester, and this year Jersey, who were the champions, they I would like to tell you about how good the RFU and the Premiership is about saving clubs. And I'll tell you another thing, there's an entire division called the Championship who are really happy with how the Premiership works because none of them can get into it now because they ring-fenced it. They are not going to take you in. They don't want to divide their money because they're all shit scared and they realise that their product isn't worth it. And stop listening to Austin Healy, the man's an idiot.
Well, okay. We do have any other business because Danny left some, so here's his any other business. I'm not sure how well it matches up to what Dave just ranted on about. So here's what Danny had to complain about with the clocks on the field in the sports ground.
Well, it's the clock. It's the clock on the halfway. Either stick it just either side of the flags because it's just sitting in the middle of it and you can't see it all the time. Also, get it to go past 40 and 80. It's so annoying to watch. You're looking across. It's like right, it's 40, but the ref could be playing an extra minute or two. But Ralston had a yellow card. How many? We played an extra couple of minutes. We didn't know when he was due to come back on. Yeah. Simple stuff.
Okay, we'll leave it there, folks. We will not have a podcast midweek as Connacht aren't playing next week. So at the end of this week, of course, sorry, it's Monday, holy cow. So there's no game this Saturday coming, so we won't have a podcast midweek. I will have something that we recorded with Andrew Brace, assuming the quality is good enough, because I just had a phone on the desk, but he had some really interesting things to say at the EPCR launch, so I'm hoping that's going to be good enough for a podcast later in the week. But to finish off today's podcast, here's William with the results and table for the URC after round 9.
This podcast is dedicated to all the cameramen and photographers who took one for the team today. Boys, I wouldn't swap my job or my position for yours for any amount of money.
Results from round 9 of the United Rugby Championship on Saturday, December the 30th, 2023. Benetton 36, Zebre 14. Edinburgh 19, Glasgow 14. And Stormers 16, Sharks 15. January the 1st, 2024. Connacht 22, Munster 9. Ospreys 27, Cardiff 21. Dragons 13, Scarlets 12. Leinster 21, Ulster 22. But let's look at the complete table. First place are Leinster, 7 wins, 2 losses, 34 points. Benetton in second, 7 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 32 points. Glasgow, 6 wins, 3 losses, 31 points are in third. Ulster with the same record, 6 and 3 are fourth on 28. Edinburgh with the same record, 6 and 3 are fifth on 26. The Bulls with 5 wins and 3 losses from their 8 games are 6th on 26 points. And the next team in 7th are the Stormers, 5 wins, 4 losses and 26 points. The Ospreys, 5 wins and 4 losses from their 9 games, are 8th with 25 points. And Connacht are in 9th with 5 wins and 4 losses and 24 points. Munster in 10th are on the same number of points, and they got there by 4 wins, 4 losses and a draw. Cardiff in 11th have 3 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw, 21 points. In 12th, the Lions, they've played 7 games. They have 3 wins, 4 losses, 19 points. Then there's a drop to the teams that make up positions 13 to 16. The Scarlets have played 9. They've 2 wins, 7 losses, 12 points. Zebre in 14th have 1 win, 7 losses, 1 draw with 12 points. The Dragons are 2 wins, 7 losses, 10 points. And the Sharks are in 16th and final position. Played 8, won 1, lost 7, 8 points. So it's European action at the end of next week. So we'll be previewing that. And we'll have a look at how the tables are spread out before that. And we will also have a look at how our European opposition is doing. The URC is on holidays next week, but not the top 14 or the English Premiership.
Loose, cut it loose. Break out or nothing changes. Sad and confused. Don't wait until